we looked through the dashboard and we saw everything that you can do there. Now we'll take a look at the inventory tab. On the inventory tab, by default, you'll see all of your for sale machines. So any machine that you've marked in Machine Hub as for sale, it'll show up by default. If you want to change that, you can just click on Filter. And a big filter page will come up, and there's a machine status. You can select all. You could pick the ones that you want to see, but by default, you'll see the ones that are listed for sale. From here, you'll see the machines. You can click into any one of them. The first screen that you'll see is a machine details page. Okay, so once you click into a machine, it opens up to the machine details page. On this page, you can see a lot of basic information about the machine. The top portion is where the machine is listed on. If you click Edit, you can control if it's listed on the website, on the Machine Hub Marketplace, if it's a featured listing on your website, if it's posting to Surplus Record or machine sales, or a locator online. All of that can be controlled with one click on Machine Hub. You can also share on your social channels directly through Machine Hub. So you can share on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn at the click of a button. The next section is the machine details section, which is really just basic information about the machine, the type of machine, the brand, the model, stock number, serial number, condition, and machine status. So you can edit any of those in the system. Below that's the accounting details. For this machine, we have listed that we purchased it for $6,000 and additional costs are $4,736. So where that additional cost is tracked in Machine Hub is on the expenses tab. So if we click through to the expenses tab, we see the purchase price and then additional costs associated with that machine. In this case, we have some freight, some labor, miscellaneous expenses, outside service costs. All that can be tracked within Machine Hub. If we go back to the machine details page, the total from the expenses page is carried over. So our total investment in this machine is $10,736. We have an asking price in there. If somebody makes you an offer, you know exactly what your potential profit is on that machine. You don't have to go back to your accounting program. You can see everything here in Machine Hub. Now, if you don't share this information with your employees in the company settings, you can hide this sensitive information from employees who aren't listed as managers in the system. So don't worry if you don't share that. You can hide that information in Machine Hub. Same thing with ownership details. So you can track, is this a brokered machine? Is it an owned machine, a co-owned machine? Is it consignment? Do you have a partner? And then your percentage of ownership or brokerage percentage you could track within the system. If you don't want to share that with your employees, that's controlled by that same setting. The machine location is where the machine is physically located. Maybe it's in your warehouse, but maybe it's also possible that it's in a partner's warehouse. And then from there, you can also track where the machine is located within that warehouse, like a bay number or an area within that warehouse you could store within Machine Hub. You could track notes on a machine. If you open up the notes pad, you'd see any existing notes. If there were any, you could add new notes, and those are time-stamped and user-stamped as we've seen before. You can control and manage the images for a machine. On the machine details page, you see all of the existing images. If you go to the media page, you see all of them where you can make some adjustments. You could rotate left or right if you need to do so. You could drag to reorder. The order works top to bottom, left to right. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can mark images public or private. And if any image is marked private, it won't show up in a quote. It won't show up on your website. These are images. Maybe you took an image in a plant before you bought the machine, before you had it cleaned up, or maybe it's an image of the machine at delivery, or when it's going out and leaving your office, and you just want to have a record of that, you can still store that information in Machine Hub. You don't have to save it anywhere else. You just mark those ones that you don't want to share on your quotes or on your website private. And then you could also describe the type of image that it is. So maybe it's in plant or in inventory, example images. You can do all of that. Below that, you have access to manage files. So you can store all of the files associated with this inventory item in Machine Hub. You don't have to keep a separate folder on your own computer. And the same type of thing that you're doing with photos, you can do with the files. So they can be marked as private or public. Sensitive information would be private, but maybe there's an inspection report or a brochure that you want to include on the website or with a quote. You could do that. And then you could also attach YouTube videos. So you upload a video to YouTube, and then you can add the URL within Machine Hub. Below the images on the details page, you see the listing title. That's what you'd see on the Machine Hub Marketplace on your website. If you integrate to these other listing sites, there's some opportunities to update that information, but that's basically the description of the machine at the highlight level. Below that are actual machine highlights. So if there's some aspects of that machine that you'd want to highlight on your website, you have the ability to mark that here, and then that can carry over. There's tags available on a listing. So maybe you have some inventory items that are awaiting repair, and you want to be able to segment a list of your inventory based on that, or maybe it's ready to ship, or any other status that you might track before sending throughout your sales process. You could do that with tags here. You could freeform type in, you could delete, and we'll always show you a list of available tags as you start typing. So as you go, you'll see tags that are already in use, so you aren't duplicating the same type of tag over and over. Below that is the specs. One of the nice things about the specs is it's completely customizable. So if you don't like that this says machine hours and you prefer that it says an abbreviation, you could do that and update the spec label. If you don't like that that's first, you could change the order. If you don't like the spec at all, you could delete it. You could add additional specs, and then you have this overflow area where you could put in, some people call it spec sheets, some people call it equipped with. A lot of times it's a combination of both. You could type in any additional information that you want in that machine, and that'll show up on your website in your text. There's a style editor here, so however it looks here is how it'll show up on the website or in the quote. So you could change the color, you could make it bold, you could make it bigger, whatever you want to do to change the styling. You're in full control as you're creating your listing. Once you get your specifications exactly the way that you want, you can save the spec template, and then the system will ask you if you want that to be the default spec template for that type of machine. So let's say you're working with a vertical machining center, you update all your specs and you get it exactly the way you want. You click Save Spec Template. It'll ask if you want to save that as the default. And then the next time you work with a vertical machining center, those specs will populate, and all you have to do is fill in the values.